Sarah McLachlan in the spotlight.
Not every artist, though, can say that after 30 years, they can still be doing this. People will still come to see them, right?
This is 38 years in, and I still get to do this.
Celebrated hitmaker, global superstar, Canadian music icon.
Welcome to Lilith Fair.
The force behind one of the biggest movements in music history.
Never underestimate the power of a few people to create a big change in the world.
This has been an amazing ride. I've loved every minute of it.
Singer-songwriter, visionary, ally.
Be who you are, celebrate who you are. There's room for everybody.
Trailblazing a way for a whole new generation.
Evermore.
And folklore?
And folklore.
Yeah.
I had actually got attached to those records. I'm like, okay, wow, she's really becoming an amazing songwriter.
Etalk in Conversation with Sarah McLachlan begins right now.
Sarah McLachlan, new music, Better Broken. Does it feel familiar?
It's been a while. I think it's 11 years since my last record. That being said, I've continued to tour. I've continued to write music. I had 2 teenage daughters. I was a dance mom, so that was kind of full on. I've also continued to fundraise off the side of my desk for my free music schools. So there's been a lot going on, but I'm really happy to finally be able to have, you know, a body of work that I'm super proud of and happy to put out to the world.
Okay, we're good to go.
She's one of Canada's most successful recording stars with almost 40 years in the industry, and now Sarah marks her big return to music with Better Broken, her first studio album in over a decade.
Let's talk about this body of work and the 11 years in the making. What are you sharing this time?
Honestly, it's a reflection of my life, and it's a reflection of the world that we live in. I think one of the biggest themes for me is reclamation of self, you know, coming through divorce, but it's kind of about picking up the pieces. You know, we fall apart, we break, we have to pick ourselves back up and figure out how to rebuild and move forward. And the older you get, you know, we don't get to this point unscathed.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. We lose parents, we lose partnerships, we lose friends. And we gain a lot too, hopefully a lot of wisdom. And for me, writing has always been incredibly cathartic. You know, it's been my way of processing and my way of finding sort of a place to put the pain and the grief and the sadness, and sometimes joy. Like, I'm a really happy person. But you listen to my music and you're like, oh my God, this woman's so depressed. But I'm not. I get it all out in my music.
That music has helped put her on the map. From winning 3 Grammy Awards and selling over 40 million albums worldwide, to founding the groundbreaking all-female music festival Lilith Fair in the 90s. All major milestones, but none as big as Motherhood.
Well, I want to talk about your girls, because you have said one of the songs that you feel many people will resonate with the most is Gravity.
Yeah.
And it was written for India.
Yes.
Your daughter. And it is about your, in the past, complicated relationship with her.
Really, it was about the fact that my kid was struggling.
Yeah.
And I could not reach her. I could not help her because she didn't feel safe with me. She didn't trust me. And to find that out, she wasn't able to articulate that until we got into family systems counseling. But that was where everything got opened up and the layers of the onion started peeling back. And all of a sudden, like, I thought, you know, I'm a great parent. Why, you know, this kid's so challenging. But she was not hearing or feeling the things that I thought I was articulating. She wasn't getting it, because as loving as I was also a bit of a hard ass, thinking that I needed to prepare her for the real world out there, which is scary and mean, and you need some grit, you need some resilience. And she's diagnosed with ADHD, so a wall would come up when things got hard.
Yeah.
And that same wall came up because I was telling you have to do this, you have to push through.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just making me feel terrible about myself.
Yeah.
So understanding that and realizing if I want a good relationship with my kid, and if I want her to know how much I love her, I need to change the way I communicate with her. So figuring that out was paramount in this new relationship that is now so much better. I sent it to her with a certain amount of fear, going, hey, so I wrote this kind of about us.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I sent it to her in a text.
Yeah.
She felt a little safer. Day and a half goes by and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done?
She left you on red.
She left it. And then I text her, I go, so what did you think of the song? She goes, oh, I loved it, Mama. And that, you know, this was 22, you know.
Yeah.
She's like, that's fine, it was great. And then, you know, I talk to her about, listen, this is on the record. Are you comfortable with me sharing this story? It's one thing for me to talk about my own feelings and my own experience, but this is bringing, you know, an innocent person into it, into a very public forum. She goes, no, Mom, I want you to talk about it. You know, I'm really happy that we had this opportunity to do this. It's really helped. So yeah, I think you should talk about it.
Sarah is also talking about kicking off a cross-country tour celebrating the 30th anniversary of her breakthrough album, Fumbling Towards Ecstasy, which made her a global star.
Now you're taking it on the road. Tour?
Yes.
Which is like an extension of the Fumbling Towards Ecstasy 30th anniversary.
Which was supposed to happen last year.
That's right.
Yeah, I got sick and lost my voice, had to cancel the whole thing, which was kind of devastating on a lot of levels, but my voice is back. So the tour is back and gonna go across Canada. And now it's this opportunity also to kind of soft launch some of the new songs from the record as well.
This album, it's over 30 years old now. I mean, I'm sure you must know on a certain level what it means to people.
I've had so many people over the years, and especially with the tour, and all these great stories of, like, you know, you were with me. It was either high school or university, and these seminal
You were with me.
years, right? There's really intense changes where you're growing so much, and music was such a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And I got to be part of that story. So there's a massive nostalgia and attachment, particularly to that record.
Welcome to Lilith Fair.
There's also massive nostalgia for Lilith Fair, the legendary music festival which is getting the big screen treatment in Lilith Fair Building a Mystery.
This is much bigger than what we even thought it could be. We changed the world a little bit.
The documentary features never-before-seen archival footage and interviews from the who's who of music superstars past and present.
Women singer-songwriters in the 90s, I'm constantly looking to them for inspiration. They're my northern stars.
It was a monumental achievement in its time, but monumental maybe even more considering its legacy and what you and the other female artists did in those shows. When you look back, can you believe it? I mean, like,
oh, I believe it.
It was so daunting.
I lived it, yeah, and it was overwhelming and exhilarating and exhausting and joyful. And I remember every single moment watching the film. And I'm so proud that I got to be part of this thing where we all agreed we should do this. And in agreeing to do this simple thing, we elevated each other, we lifted each other up, we supported and celebrated each other. And that message of, you know, building community and caring for each other and lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down, that to me is one of the most important messages, why this documentary is so important today to show people in particular.
From 1997 to 1999, Sarah spearheaded the groundbreaking all-female festival that drew millions of fans and became one of the top-grossing tours of its time.
Promoter said, you can't put two women on the same bill, people won't come. That's complete and it put a huge fire under my butt to prove them wrong.
Challenging stereotypes, breaking barriers, and making headlines both good and bad.
But if you stand up for something, there is going to be an equal and opposite reaction.
We had a bomb threat. People want to blow us up.
I'd never seen that kind of anger.
I loved how honest it was about your fears and why it started, and also like that you were learning along the way.
Oh, I was so green, so naive.
And you voluntarily sat for a press conference before every show.
Every day. It was a little bit painful, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't blame you. One of the things that really stopped me in my tracks when I was watching is that in those press conferences, you were getting feedback in real time.
Is the lineup this year as diverse as you would have liked? I could say no, but at the same time, I'm so thrilled with every night, with all the performances of all the artists. Before we got out on tour, I would say that yes, I was disappointed. I wanted it to be even more diverse.
Part of that feedback was about diversity. I admire the way that you took accountability also in real time and said, yeah, we got to do better.
Yeah.
Because this is hard for people, especially now with call-out culture, to not be defensive and to say, can I sit with this?
We had attempted right from the get-go to be as diverse as possible, and because of who I am and the kind of music that I was making and the few other artists that said yes, we sort of got pigeonholed into this, you know, white folk thing. And a lot of urban artists and women of color, their managers looked at this thing that we were creating going, I don't know where my artist fits in this. So our first year was not anywhere near diverse enough, in my opinion. And I was like, I agree, but in defense of us, we're doing our best, we're trying to build this thing. Please we want everybody to come and participate in this. So it got better as time went on.
Fast forward to 2025, and the film, a star-studded documentary, celebrates its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival.
In the 90s, there was a moment for female singer-songwriters to really kind of be their authentic selves in a way that maybe hadn't been allowed.
It's meaningful that we are sharing what we went through with younger generations. It's important for them to see it, and I'm just happy that we were able to kind of shift culture a little bit.
Most systems in this world were built by men for men, and we as women were expected to be satisfied with a small sliver of the pie. And I love that the success of Lilith forced the change of a lot of those old school attitudes, at least within the music industry. And I do think that has a ripple effect. I mean, I've met so many young women who have come up to me over the years. Not that long ago, a young woman came up to me and she says, "You showed me that I could do and be anything that I wanted to be." So I'm like, yes.
In recent times, Sarah continues to stand for her convictions, even pulling out of a performance at the U.S. premiere for the doc to stand up for free speech following Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Jimmy's show and the doc both affiliated with Disney in the U.S.
We have collectively decided not to perform, but instead to stand in solidarity in support of free speech.
Using her platform to create positive change is as important now as it was back then.
Nothing changed me until I witnessed for the first time Lilith Fair.
And what about to hear when people say, "I loved that so much because I was so safe at those shows," that it was especially for the queer community who didn't have a lot of spaces where they felt that they could just be themselves and groove and not feel threatened.
And hold hands and just celebrate in an open space. In an environment where everybody's just like, hey, live and let live. We're all just enjoying this thing together. Yeah, I love that. I love that we created that. And that is just an extension of the way I live my life. I'm very live and let live. I'm like, you know, wave your freak flag, be who you are, celebrate who you are. There's room for everybody.
It was a convergence of so many things in culture coming together, but it was also a festival that was really focused on inclusivity. And I think as like a young closeted kid who was always feeling slightly uncomfortable in my skin, being there, my biggest takeaway from that day was how inclusive it felt.
There is going to be maybe a generation rediscovering or discovering for the first time this festival, the musicians in this festival. How do you anticipate that?
I am excited for the world to see this. I'm excited for young women to see this and for young men to see it and to see that never underestimate the power of a few people to create a big change in the world. And when you're passionate and you believe in something, you often have other people come alongside and help support you in that. And it feels good to be part of a positive movement towards change.
And leading that positive movement for change today, a whole new generation of female voices dominating the charts.
Lilith was born out of the fact made clear in the film that they wouldn't play two back-to-back songs by women on the radio. Fast forward to 2025, and the radio and the
dominated
charts
by women.
And women run pop music. There would be no pop music without the female artists. So I'm not going to say that these are your babies, but you are the big sister inspiration spirit to the Olivia Rodrigos, to the Billie Eilishes, who you've talked about and said you love their work. You know, when you see them succeed in this way and reflect on what you were doing with Lilith, what are your thoughts?
Pride and joy at their success and reveling in all that they've created and the opportunities that are there. You know, and I don't for a second think that it's because of me or because of what I've created. Again, the success of Lilith was because we all agreed to do this thing together and to ignore those old attitudes and to ignore the competition and just to say, let's just be together and celebrate each other and celebrate this beautiful music that we're making and create this community and have that ripple effect go out into the world and show people that, you know, together we can create really positive change.
This has been an amazing ride. I've loved every minute of it.
What do your daughters think?
I think it's upped my cool factor.
Okay.
Mildly. Just a little bit. It's like, wow, Mom, you were kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah. They're pretty proud of their mama.
You're the musician, but do they introduce you to music?
Oh, constantly. My young daughter, who's now 18, she introduced me to Phoebe Bridgers and Boy Genius, to SZA, to Olivia Dean, Olivia Rodrigo, Chapel Roan, like all these young artists where I'm like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. And Billie Eilish, I mean, she was massive Billie Eilish. And actually, she introduced me to Taylor Swift in a way, too, because she introduced me to Evermore.
And Folklore?
And Folklore, which to me were the records that I finally, actually got attached to those records. I'm like, okay, wow, she's really becoming an amazing songwriter.
Do you know what people online say about you and Folklore and Evermore? Like,
no idea.
The ones who know Sarah McLachlan connect your work to Folklore and say that there's a lot of commonality that, you know...
Maybe that's why I attached to it so much. I'm like, this feels familiar somehow.
Yes, there are people actually who have said they would love if Taylor could cover Sarah McLachlan or Sarah McLachlan could cover Taylor. So I'm asking for them, if Taylor Swift could cover one of your songs, which one would it be?
I would never suggest. She could do whatever the heck she wants.
Is there a Taylor Swift song you would want to cover?
I love Cardigan. Now you're putting me on the spot because I'm so bad with the names of songs, but...
Sing it then.
And the tennis courts were covered up by some like thing. They asked me to dance. And what's that, the Cowboy? So many good songs.
There's no denying Sarah is one of the most loved voices in the Canadian music landscape.
You can hide away, hold your heart at bay, I know.
From her award-winning hits to her advocacy work and philanthropy, the singer-songwriter has been influential both on and off the charts, continuing to inspire many with her voice.
We're a sound check.
When you are in the presence of fans, people who have really been through it with your music, what is that like for you still as an artist after all this time?
It's magical.
Have a great show, everybody.
I love playing live. I love singing for people. That is where I feel like I am living my purpose. And I am creating this connection and this community for a moment, for a brief hour and a half or 2 hours, where it's like we all get to be part of something bigger than ourselves. It's like church for me.
Yeah.
It's like connecting to this greater good, where for a moment, regardless of our political or social or religious beliefs, we can all come together and just share this experience. And I think, you know, we need opportunities to come together and have moments of reprieve and be lifted. And I think music and art does that.
Not every artist, though, can say that after 30 years, they can still be doing this. People will still come to see that, right?
This is 38 years in, and I still get to do this.
I want to know, though, like, I mean, you have seen changes in the industry. Artists' relationships to their fans is so parasocial. I mean, in many ways, with social media, artists can connect to their fans more immediately than ever before.
Yeah.
And you raise 2 children who only know that.
Yeah.
Is that weird for you as an artist to see so many different iterations of fame?
Yeah, the industry has changed wildly. Social media has presented a ton of opportunities and a ton of challenges.
Yeah.
On one hand, it does offer this instant accessibility depending on how much you choose to feed the beast. That's a personal choice, how much of your private life you put into that. Well, I'm really, really lucky too, because I do have such an amazing fan base, which I built over years and years and years and years of touring. I was just talking to a lovely young artist, and she's going, you know, do you have any advice? Because this is, you know, it's a crazy world. I'm like, it's hard for me to give you advice other than stay authentic to yourself and ask lots of questions. And, you know, surround yourself with people who believe in you and what you're doing. Other than that, the whole social media part is like, do what you're comfortable with, do what feels authentic to you, and just stay true to yourself. But it's a crazy part of the business that will consume you if you allow it to.
We have a flashback.
Okay. Oh my God, look at that hair.
Everybody's going on about how, you know, there are all these female artists cropping up, and it's just a phase. Just so happens that there happen to be a lot of female artists who are coming out with really good, tasteful, lasting music.
If you could have a conversation with that Sarah, what would you say to her?
You go, girl. I got really lucky that I was given the opportunity to do exactly as I wanted in the sense of how to develop my career, what kind of songs I was going to write, how I projected myself to the world. Like, there was no expectation there. And what a privilege and a gift that was. And so I had that idea right from the get-go that, well, this is how it's going to be. I think I would just say, keep going. You're doing great.
Thank you so much. Keep going. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you.